Good morning, everyone. This is just a testing of making a recording. I'm going to figure out the connection of this recording with the live sharing. Anyway, so this is my 1 minute ES, this is my 5 minute ES, this is a 15-minute. I either use the NQ or switch it to ES. Then I have my watch list open. My two major ones I focus on are Apple and JPM. The rest do make an effect on the market as well, and in the mega cap, which does help since these are the main stocks that move the market. But yeah, if I see both of these are green, pretty strong, depending on market movement as well. Right now we have Apple strong, JPM weak, so we have bank sector weak, S&P and tech sector, that's Apple probably holding. So given that, we had double bottom and supported here at London low. So this is pre-market. As you can see, we kept holding higher, higher, higher. Finally, we came down, market open, and got two buy-up wicks, so it's pretty strong. So that was an indication to, if you're a quick, fast trader, to pick up a long from here and just take it level to level. Let's see. Yeah, we had some obviously green strength in the market, so that was another indication. On the 4-hour session, as I had mentioned, I'll go to it real fast. We had this gap here that we had filled down. We do have this liquidity that we did fulfill here when we came up and then gapped up, but again, it can retouch into it one time. We have the put from the MFGL. We have the put from the call from the jacks. Let me see. I think that changes when you drop down the time frame. No. So given that, so we have a few levels here. We have the gap that we can be starting to fill back up. Just simple things that I look at as a bias to just help with my trading and execution. Okay, reaching goes level. So it's 650. The macro trading, from what I've learned, is the 50 to 10. So 650 to 10, 820 to 840, whatever. At 20 to 40 and 50 to 10. So we had a nice support at the London. This is breaking down into a 1 minute sweep. Went back up, sweep, went back up. Let's see if I can find a trade. Below midnight still. We have some weaknesses in the market. Obviously, NQ went down 1,000, but we just climbed up, to 300. So that gives an indication of some strength in the market. From London, we broke a level, we broke EMAs, we broke two levels here, which is, this is like a mid-level looking at from MFGL, VD, and now we're at the ghost. This is a overnight imbalance level. It's not a key level, but from, if you read about it, it does say if the ghost level shows from the imbalance overnight, most likely market wants to drop to it, which it did. From London low, took it to go. So if we were to be in the straight from here, we would take it from level to level. Honestly, just even from here, halfway up is more than enough profits to walk away happy. So let's see if I can find a trade. I'm going to quick pause before I start trading. I'm going to click play again. And just to add that I have the 5 minute 200 EMA. So these are 1 minute 50 and a 1 minute 200. And even though I'm on a 5 minute chart in the settings, I switch it to a 1 minute time frame. So no matter what time frame I change it to, it always sticks to a 1 minute EMA. And this one is a 5 minute. So even if I change the time frames, it still stays a 5 minute 200. over time I've learned these are pretty strong areas of rejection, and or if we break through that, we can possibly continue to the next side up. So we're still below midnight PDL. We're obviously below the JEX levels. So either we start breaking some structures here, which we broke these two last highest points, or lowest points after coming down. So highest points after coming down, we made a high, then a higher high, and now we're making a higher high. So that's a good indication. It's another confluence. Patience. Since we already missed this trade here, let's patiently wait to see if we get some kind of reaction. I'd rather take levels, trades from levels like low, any of the JEX levels, pivots, pain. These are more for guidance and direction, but they do work sometimes, but they're not key levels. You see how these candles are thinning out slowly? That's another indication that I take into consideration that, see, these broke, and then now we're slowly thinning out here. That indication that we can pull back 30%, 50%, or even 100% all the way back down. The smaller, if you got, if it was like tiny little doji looking candles, then I would say that this would be pulling back stronger. So that's another confluence I'd be looking for. At that time, would decide if I wanted to play a short. However, the way I like it is we break, especially a 5 minute, break back down, retest, can't break above, and then take a short. Long wise, break above. Since we have, let's just say, these against us, I would like it for it to break higher above, retest for the long to continue. Not every time I need a full closure on the 5 minute, but when it does do it, I like to retest. Let's just say if we had another 5 minute bullish, just like this one, break above this 200 EMA, this London high, heck, even Asia high, let's just say, or Asia low, and retest it here, then I play a level back up. Especially if this entire setup, let's just say it's London low and this was like JEX level or something, that would have given me a stronger confirmation. So VD is a key level 2 from JEX. So where below goes, we did kind of somewhat broke above on a 1 minute. We had a 5 minute wick above it. So VD is, let's see, it says lower extensions. No. So lower extension zone from here to VD is between put wall and VD, just the LEZ. So I've heard anytime we come to VD, can push to put wall. Because we're below certain things, most likely we will. I mean, we're looking like we want to retrace this drop that we had here. Obviously, we're overextended on the drop overnight. But I love a tight execution here. These are new that JEX drip added. I kind of like it, so you don't always have to wait to get near the level, so you can take it within this box. Let's see if we can find to execute. Rejecting goes, are we going to respect it? NQ is climbing strong. Let me jump to the 5 minute. See, these turn green, so we're showing some bullish momentum. And always look to the left, like all these points right here are levels. Even though we have our levels, I see these points right here. Every pullback, that's a level, that I will possibly, if I'm scalping, I would take off. If I'm just taking the profits, and let's say from tight entry to here, I would take off because, I'd rather stay green and take my profit. In 30 seconds is 7 o'clock. Let's see what so the 1 hour IB I use is from 6 to 7. So it created the low, the mid, the high. So right now we are technically rejecting this high area unless we break it at 7 o'clock, which is in 10 seconds. Let's see if it's going to push it back down or are we structurally starting to go up. I'll just minimize that 7 o'clock 1 hour IB. There's a story behind the IB. I don't use it. It's more for like an hour or two after it's been created. There's 30% and 70%, vice versa. This would be 30%, 70%. Areas where after 1 hour has been formed, we close green. Let's say the next hour, the following hour, if we retrace 30%, we can continue, or if we retrace 70%, we can continue back up. Vice versa, the other way around. There is a video on that explains it. I'll find it and I'll share it to everyone. So that's why I don't use it as often, but I do have it on just to know where the high, low, and medium of that first hour is. And plus, as I'm trading, it obviously, as you saw, it was extending. So what it did the first 15 minutes, you can change the settings to a 15-minute, and it will tell you exactly what the first 15 minute is. You can change it here, or you change it on the time frame. Or you can create another one in a different color and have a 15-minute, 30-minute. A lot of people trade different IBs. Okay, so here's some focus here. So we have 5-minute closing, of course. 5-minute closing. I think it's showing some bullish here. Definitely missed that one. First opportunity here. Came above above. This came right on the top here, so that would have been a good entry, but it was not a confirmed entry. That's more like a quick stopper. Nice crossover. These are lagging, so I don't pay too much attention to it. I kind of just use it for directional. IB 200 to go. LZ is a lower expansion zone. So will this lower expansion zone be a continuation, or is it going to pull back to VD, which will retest in May? Or is it going to retest the support ghost? That time is intuition to decide if you want to take it from ghost or do you want a deeper retest. If you go deeper retest, your stop needs to be a little bit more, expanded. Otherwise, the drop, since we are red, we can have a drop. I mean, we claimed 50% of NQ already. We're 1,000 down, about 50% reclaimed. bullish here. Lagging, bending. I haven't really paid deep attention to these, but looking at this being green shows some strength. Apple lost half of it, so it dropped, but JPM is still down. It's pretty weak. Energy is weak. This guy's kind of on the weak side. Massive sellers. If I'm pausing the video, it's just I don't want to waste time, making a long video. So I'm just gonna pause it, and then whenever I'm ready, or if I see something building up, I will press play before I decide to make any trades. So looking at the 5 minute, we obviously had these strong areas. We had a bullish break above with this candle. We broke VD in this area, stayed above these areas. We had another 5 minute bullish close above. We had this one close above Ghost, this one close above IB, London High, 200, and LEZ. So, which is great. So let's see what we do here. We're kind of forming above London High. And we've already come up a pretty big move. Usually after a big move up, I always try to keep in mind we might have like a 30% retrace. So 30% of this move would be tracing back down to this area, or even back down to here. And this is a continuation right up. Okay, 707. Give us a retrace so we can get a trade in. Drop down and sweep. Usually people do fair value gaps, so we have a fair value gap here, we have a fair value gap here. Let's see which one will hold stronger. Retested this fair value gap is strong. I mean, it does put us back below the 200 EMA, but since we broke it, I think it's an indication that we can possibly continue to get to put long. Give it a shot. Come on, get as close as nearest to the level. JPM went green. Obviously it's showing some strength. NQ is pulling back down. If you like shapes, maybe a cup and handle, usually the handle will retest to the top area right here. This level is a little low from here, so I'm trying to go up on NQ. Strong test here to London High. Thing. That would be nice, but again. So we had the confirmation. We could have taken from here, but I would have liked a retest a little bit deeper. The 15-minute candle. We had these two strongly break. This 15-minute hasn't closed yet. Closes in 4 minutes. Obviously closing above these levels, that's a strong indication. On this one, and then we got a small sell-off. It's possible if we do close and retest here for a continuation higher, unless we're going to reverse to go back down. Let's see how it reverses and if it shows strength for support or if it breaks and loses. Playing shorts, you want to talk about losing this area at our open before we start reversing to the downside. So we're pretty strong in the market, climbing. Now it's just retraces. You got to kind of understand where we're going to retrace and support, and this is where we use our levels. 3 minutes to go. Okay, so Dow's getting into the green. JPM climbed up from negative. I mean, it's showing some strength in here. Apple, I know, lost half, but let's see if it starts showing strength. Because if both start showing strength together, then we're going to be bullishly climbing. Sometimes you might see both of them green and we're going sideways. That just means that the price has already done what it needed to do. So it's just settling. 40 seconds to go. 15 minutes most likely from just even guessing. We already know we're going to close. Hopefully we can get a retrace back before it continues. And if I was to take this one, I would take quickly profit. I mean, last thing, even though we're still holding, but it's these sell-offs that you don't know could have been a sell-off and dump, given the fact that we were pretty weak in the market. But over here we're showing strength, so this is why it's a 50-50. Okay, 5-minute close is 15-minute close above, obviously we know that. Let's get a retrace. Another thing I'll add, let's just say if this was the JEX level and we were supporting like this, if I put trade 1 here, you know, it could be I entered here and I held through it, or something didn't feel right and I exited and then I re-entered again. Let's just say that's still considered trade 1. The bias didn't change. It's just I didn't want to be stuck in the market until I knew it was going to go. Because sometimes things like this can play out sideways for a while before it goes. Some people don't mind holding the trade that long. Yes, if you exit, it can make you miss the trade. So at that time, I leave it up to you as a trader to decide. So for me, sometimes that quick pop, I would possibly take a profit just to have a little bit of a buffer, knowing that it was still going to retest or maybe even drop lower, and then I would re-enter. So that area would still stay trade 1 for me, even if I took it once or twice. Okay, let's see. Seems like the market is riding in May. Leave it behind. It's a continuation. It has to eventually slow down and show some weakness. Best trade setup was after she was open, pull up, push down, even entry on the 10-minute candle. So 10 minutes in, I'm sure 1 minute was roughly open right here. Perfect, beautiful entry. This was the trade. This is the trade to take. Sometimes you have to be here on time. just to give an idea, I am looking for a retest. So because we've come up this much, near the put of MFGL and midpoint of the juxer, I am looking for a retest either somewhere around here. If it's going to be deeper, it will show me by a quick drop. Retest to here will be the best for up. Breaking back down, we'll be playing back down to get back to the lows. Let's see how this starts curving out. As we started dropping, you see these started turning into gray. That doesn't mean we're going bearish, but obviously the bullishness is not 100%, which can mean we're just going to do a retrace. I don't know if the retrace is supporting here or if we need to go a little bit deeper. This is why I rather wait and just be patient, and if the trade comes to me, I will execute. Okay, we're slowly starting to drop. Position myself. The 1 minute 50 will cross the 200 EMA of the 5 minute. That's a good sign too. Let's see if we can drop to get our sweep. And Q is dropping pretty hard here. 5 minute. And Q would want to come put wall, run them low together. Bounce back up for a reversal unless we lose it to go more down. Let's put in that 200 and then JPM got stronger, Apple got stronger. Could have taken the shot here since we had supported here. If I did, I would have quickly just scalped, taking a profit. 73 to 79, there you go, it's 4 or 5 points. So we're looking to go down. This is why I don't want people to get fooled. Like, see, we get that pump up and people think we're going to continue. But you got to remember the market is still weak here. And Q is still dropping here. So, and we came up pretty far up. So we do need a stronger retest. Where there's Ghost, I think even the 200 EMA before we flip back stronger. Unless we lose levels, then you gotta reassess your bias. Let's go back to pause. Seems like we keep supporting this area. The 1 minute is getting to the 200. I mean, most people can call this a bull flag, bull flag. Hesitant to give it a shot here since I do want a deeper pull in. If I did, I would take a quick exit. Don't trust it. I think it is going to go down deeper. Let's see. Is it going to keep supporting, or is it going to do exactly what I believe? It's 5 minutes, 30 seconds to go. So yeah, it's a sell-off, showing some weakness here. So I think we are going to get a deeper pullback. That's where you want to look out for, is things like that too. Just another confluence to help yourself to not take a trade until your setup is correct. The 1 minute never got above the 200 also. There we go. Don't want to get fooled by things like that. And take a trade. If you do, take your quick profit. That's all it's giving you. Let's go. Sell off here. It's curving. Okay, we're in it now. Let's see. Is it going to go deeper than it goes? Then it goes right here. Give a shot here, or retesting here would be the best. I would leave it over here to give it a shot. Deeper would be even better. But it's a good area. First trade of the